Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vince.
Mom, apple pie, and the girl next door.
We've got Chris.
Know your problem? Your head's too big.
And I'm Kia. Welcome to the show. Good lines from the spread of comics that we are reading today. This is our April Fool's episode because we're recording this on April 7th. And it's going to air in April. But we are reading 3 different comics today. Hooray!
Very different comics.
There's 3 very, very different comics. You're right. So first off, we're doing Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, specifically issue number 16 out of its 17-issue run, because we saw that Baron Zebro was in it, and we wanted to read the rest of it. Were we rewarded for our curiosity? We'll find out.
Then we punished for our hubris.
Yeah, possibly. Then we read Avengers number 200, which is reviled as one of the worst comics in history, from what I've seen, apparently. Is it that bad? It's from 1980, and it's about Miss Marvel having a kid. How could it be that bad? And then we have Earth X number X, which is the finale of the Earth X long read that we've been doing. We didn't plan for this to be ending with our April Fool's episode, but I feel like it is fitting, you know?
We do feel like fools for reading all this.
A little bit, but there was definitely more to read this time. And we're going to read all of it. So let's, I guess, just jump right in. I thought we might start with Peter Porker because it's the silliest and stupidest and probably will have the least to talk about.
I've got pages of notes on Doc Clamson.
Do you? All right. Well, I can't wait. Let's get there. So this series was, I didn't even write down the writer. Who's this guy's name? Steve Mellor. Have we read anything by Steve Mellor? Do we know who that is? I don't know who that is. Joe Albello on art. Who's that? Do we know that guy?
Nope. I'm familiar with both of them.
Great. And this was a Marvel Comics imprint, Star Comics, that did a bunch of their kiddie stuff. So this was not for adult readers like us, but we're going to read it.
I see Larry Hama as the editor. He did like the G.I. Joe comics. Yes. Was that under the same umbrella or no?
I mean, it was a licensed book, so it may have been.
Yeah.
I don't think it was, though. Because I remember the Marvel logo on G.I. Joe comics.
Yeah, and G.I. Joe comics were a little bit more like, I don't know, grown up, I think.
Yeah, they were more rated T for teen than like most of Star Comics, which is like rated G for kids.
Yeah, no, the oldest thing I can see here would be like Thundercats and Masters of the Universe. I feel like, oh wait, Chuck Norris Karate Commandos they did?
Wow. Did that run more or less issues than Spider-Ham? That's a question.
That ran four issues.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Chuck.
Maybe if he'd had Billy Goat Joel in here, he would have done better.
A Fraggle Rock comic? Okay, let's keep going. So what's going on in this story? Mary Jane Water Buffalo is her name, and Peter Porker are hanging out at her place, listening to music. They're listening to Billy Goat Joel. The first line of this comic is, "Uptown Gorilla going steady with the naval flotilla." It's a pretty good opening line, I think. And right off the bat, Peter is like, "Hey, I'm glad you love rock and roll. You should check out jazz sometimes, too." And he lists, are we going to read every fake name in this? Elephant Fitzgerald, Duck Ellington, Fats Walrus, and Jellyfish Morton. I feel like we have to name every joke because that's all this book has. It just has fake names. But they decide that Peter is going to go out for some Chinese food and come back, and they're going to continue their date. And as he goes to pick up some Chinese food, he passes by the place and decides to go to the pharmacy instead to buy some antacid pills because he's going to need them after that Chinese. And as he does, we see a mysterious duck-looking figure walking into this Chinese place. He's taking a package that he's supposed to be picking up, and the guy at the counter's all nervous. His name is Some Low Duck. And he's just a lowly duck. And this guy busts out, and he's like, "Hey, did you rat on me?" And it turns out he did, because the agents of Sheep are waiting for him with Nick Furry, he's a bear, and Dodo Dugan. Yeah. And this duck reveals himself to be Paste Pot Peep. He's like a little chicken, little chick. But he still does all. As I was reading this, I found that most everything that happened could probably just happen in a regular book, right? There's not a lot of. Go ahead.
Right, exactly. Like the only thing is the fact that they're funnily drawn animals of characters we know, because otherwise it's like, okay, so Peter and Mary Jane are gonna have a date, but he's gonna go pick up food, and then he accidentally bumps into like a robbery happening next door, and then like a sting operation by S.H.I.E.L.D., and Peter Parker gets knocked out, and then brought along for the adventure.
The thing I would push back on is that Peter does nothing. And I mean, the comedy, I would say, in addition to the fake names, is that he recognizes what he's on every time he wakes up at a new location, and then is immediately knocked out by a comically large like wrench or something.
Right.
And then wakes up in a different place. So like that's part of the comedy too, is like he is even more so than newspaper strip Spider-Man, just lucks into success after just getting like knocked out over and over again.
Right. I would agree with that. I think I was like on the same vibe as Kia, but like these first 5 or 6 pages, I'm like, this is not funny. This is just, or as John Mulaney would say, not funny. Wasn't he Spider-Man? Spider-Ham in a movie?
He was Spider-Ham, yes.
Okay.
I read all of his dialogue in John Mulaney's voice.
Great.
I heard he's cheating on Mary Jane Water Buffalo.
Oh my God, I don't know.
They never showed Spider-Ham out of mask, I don't think, in those movies, and I think with good reason, because he just looks weird to me.
He looks weird. He also doesn't have anything funny about him, and I think this book recognizes that. So they keep him knocked out so that they can just introduce other heroes with funny names. Because
we're 16 of 17 issues in, we figured out Peter Porker's.
They figured out their plan. They don't have jokes in this. Their only source of jokes is find another character with another name.
You say, how dare you?
I will say every single cut back to Mary Jane made me laugh.
Those were probably the best parts. Yes.
Every single time it was a new 80s pop act. I'm like, this is pretty funny.
It is good. It's good. Paste Pot Peep kidnaps Peter to get away. He's got a hostage. He's glued all the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. down there. And he flies off to Baron Zebro, who's waiting in a rocket. And they're going to go meet with the other person that they've teamed up with.
At this point, I am questioning like the real plot of this. Though, like Baron Zebro is asking, like, why are we keeping this hostage? I mean, we've already we're about to hop on a plane. There's no reason to use him as like a negotiating chip at all.
Yeah, just leave him there. Yeah.
Just leave him. We're done. We're done with carrying this hostage around. But of course, we need Spider-Ham along for the rest of the ride.
Yep, got to bring him back. Mary Jane is listening to Prance right now, the Purple Rains album.
He's a reindeer.
Yep. We've got Captain Americat is flying around in his plane. And he comes across Baron Zebro, but Baron Zebro has catnip gas to keep him distracted.
Chris, Prance, by the way, is a horse.
You're right.
He is not a reindeer, which is a better joke and a better second pass. We got Prancer.
Should have been a reindeer.
We got Prancer, and then on top of that, we got Reigns like a reindeer. That's a much better joke. Good job, Chris.
Yeah, good work.
Also, this is where it goes Spidey super stories. Why does Captain America have a plane? Like we all associate Captain America with his famous plane.
Yep.
I was wondering that as well, but that's what he does, I guess.
And he sees suspicious looking planes in the air just randomly.
Yeah.
Yep. I do appreciate that Baron Zebra he calls Peter Porker Schwein. Which I feel like Baron Zemo's always doing that, but it just means pig. So
that's true.
That's a joke. See,
that's a good joke. Peter wakes up and Baron Zebro knocks him out with a giant wrench, a comically large wrench. I love it. They go to meet the Mad Stinker and the fearsome Ham Droid on their little submarine because they're also in this because we need more villains. Then we got this is my favorite cut back to Mary Jane. She's listening to Bruce Spring Chicken, which is with his song "Hatched in the USA." That's a great joke. I love that joke.
Well, it's funny because it's coming over the radio and it's got the little squiggle word balloon. It goes "Hatched in the USA."
I can hear it. I can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear that completely.
Then we get so they're in the water now in their submarine. So Doc Clamson shows up. With his beautiful green mohawk, and he looks like a clam. He reminds me of Shazam, mainly because I'm more familiar with Shazam than I am Doc Samson.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Doc. But he so the Mad Stinker builds a casino underwater, and that's going to distract the clam because of Clam's Casino, and all mollusks are addicted to gambling. I've never heard of Clam's Casino. Never heard.
I felt like this was a play on words, but I was like, "What? What am I missing here? I don't get it."
I don't know what Clam's Casino is.
I did like the absurdity that of course clams are inveterate gamblers. Yeah, of course. Like we all know this, right?
Yeah, I felt like it was setting up like a dad joke, and then there wasn't one. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, because I was like, trying to run.
I looked it up. Sorry, Clam's Casino is a food. It's a type of clams.
Oh.
Even then,
That's
I still don't
a
get
Jeopardy answer we both didn't get. Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because I'm like, what? I was trying to run through like what casinos were popular in the 80s in like Atlantic City or Vegas. I'm like, Caesar's Palace? No, that doesn't make sense. So, yeah.
Right. Clam. Well, children in the 80s definitely heard of Clam's Casino, I guess. Wait a minute.
They love it.
Wait a minute. No, we hadn't. Okay. Then Peter wakes up again, and the ham droid knocks him out. So they're like, we're tired of putting this guy out. Let's put him in a trunk next to this. We didn't even mention what the bad guy stole. It was some radioactive isotope they were keeping. Let's put him in the chest with this radioactive isotope. Right? Okay. We've reached China now in the submarine. Great. They're meeting up with what's this mosquito thing? Was that somebody?
Which one?
The magnetic mosquito? Oh, Magsquito. He was like Magneto. I didn't even I don't know why. I thought he was like a servant for the other guy who was like, who's this guy going to be a part of? No, he was just another guy. There's so many villains in there.
It's overstuffed, but I like it. I do like a lot of villains.
Another hero shows up now. It's Iron Mouse with his luggage because he's come all the way to China. And he, tries to stop them, but Magsquito, the mosquito, zaps him away.
Iron Mouse looks like Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
He does. He definitely does.
I feel like that's kind of the bit.
That's it. That's the bit.
He looks like Iron Man wearing, an armor that covers his Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how else would you draw a mouse? You got a famous mouse. What other kind of template are you going to use, Yeah. So Peter wakes up again. He's still in the chest. Doesn't know what to do. Mary Jane is listening to the Squawking Heads. It's another good one. They get to the
Not My
home.
Beautiful Nest.
That one was good too.
Yes.
I got great second drafts for these.
Yeah. We should do a revised version of this. We get to the next villain. It's the Mandarin Tail. Which is another. That's a rough one, man. The Mandarin.
I'm glad that's the last one because I'm like, these are getting weaker and weaker.
Yeah. And he says, "Hi, all you other villains. Great, thanks for bringing the isotopes to me. Now I don't need you anymore." And he drops them in a hole in the floor. And he opens the crate, and Spider Ham pops out. Boom. But don't worry, we have a giant dragon named Doo Wop Doo, which.
Fin Fang Foom?
Yeah, it's Fin Fang Foom, and it's just kind of funny because it's doo-wop, I guess. It's not a specific parody.
I would like it even funnier if it was just Fin Fang Foom. He's already an animal.
That would pretty good. You're right. He is already an animal. But Peter has the antacid tablets, so that while the dragon is breathing fire at him, he throws them in. He's sated. The Mandarin Tail has a bunch of rings that do like Inspector Gadget things,
Because he's got the 10 rings, and I guess they have powers. I don't know. I haven't really read many Mandarin comics, and I think it's just like they're just cool rings in Shang-Chi.
His first two rings really do the same thing. One is a lasso, and then the other one is like chains that go around him, which is you already got him. Then he does cement, which the cement mixer ring manages to pour a perfect cube shape around Spider-Ham. How did that work? That's really good. That's a great ring. And then the Mandarin's last ring is like a boxing glove that's going to punch Peter. But the Mandarin put it on upside down, and it punches himself in the face. Which also doesn't make sense because if you put it on right side up, it would have punched himself in the balls. So I don't know what this ring was supposed to do. I think it was just broken. The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. run in. This is my panel of the week right here. Is Doo Wop Doo. What was his name? Doo Wop Doom? Doo Wop Doo? The dragon has this look of shock on his face as the agents are rushing in. He's like, oh, we've been found. And hooray, the day is saved. The dragon gives Peter a ride home. He's excited to try some bland American cuisine. Nick Fury and Dodo Dugan return the isotopes to President Raccoon, which I guess has to be President Reagan.
President Ronald Raccoon. They don't really
Ronald
say that.
Raccoon. And he's like, hey, thanks for your bravery. What's an isotope?
I don't have a very good Reagan impression. I abandoned it immediately.
Peter finally returns home with the Chinese food. And Mary Jane says, I've kind of lost my craving for Chinese food. What I really want is a pizza. Peter falls over. Wah, wah. End of the issue. There was a little mini story afterwards with Croak and Badger, which again, the name of that was probably better than anything else in here. But I did generally like the way Croak, the way he was written in this. He was like just addicted to junk food, but also takes his dark hunger very seriously.
He just describes it in like over describing his love of junk food.
Yeah, it's very overly poetic. Yes. And he, Badger gets kidnapped by the ham droid and the mad stinker, and he's distracted by snacks, but then he goes and saves the day. It was good. It was entertaining. It was more entertaining of a read, I think, than the main story. Yeah, probably.
Less objectionable.
Less objectionable, yeah. But that's it, It's a thing we read for sure. It was it was cute. It very much does fit this style that we've read from, we read a Not Brand Ech all those years ago. And it is just like, hey, think of a gag of just funny words, but forget to write anything funny, a little funny plot. I don't know.
Yeah.
It does feel like they were trying. Maybe that's mean because the clam bit, I don't know.
but those are not, they're not explaining humor. They don't come from the characters and they don't come from the plot. They're just there, and then there's a weird plot around it. But the reason I like the clam one is they ditched the clam because of a weird. They ditched out Clamson because of a weird thing. That seemed at least character based, as opposed to just this is just funny drawings of characters you like, and then that's the joke. Yeah. I also I was trying to figure out how many appearances does Iron Mouse have? What's his deal? And I'm very disappointed to see that the Wikia for Iron Mouse says he's only in one appearance, and it's not this issue. It says he's only in Spider-Ham number 3. So Wikia is wrong.
Wow. Now in a second appearance that no one knows about.
At least his second appearance. He does show up. Iron Ham shows up in Ultimate Spider-Ham Civil War or something. Some shit like that.
Wait, there's an Iron Mouse and an Iron Ham?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are different characters, legally distinct, I guess. I'm kind of disappointed by this. I was expecting it to be a little funnier, and it wasn't. The Mary Jane jokes were hilarious, though.
Yeah. Chris, you have anything to say?
I thought it was funnier than Not Brand X, which was painful. Yeah. And there were a couple of not a laugh out loud, but a couple of those. I said, I appreciated Baron Zemo or Baron Zebro or whatever he was, calling Peter Porker a pig in German because he always calls Captain America that. So I was like, that's funny. You have to understand the reference, and it works out. Most of the rest wasn't funny except Mary Jane and her love of 80s music acts that are all different animals. That was good.
Absolutely. But I think if we should wait. Are we going to read any more Peter Porker?
No.
No.
This book needs to be canceled.
Also, Peter Porker, horrible boyfriend, doesn't call and is like, you should listen to jazz music. Shut up.
Yeah. I think it's just a joke. It's just a vessel to say
oh no, I understand. I understand that it's just to get out
He's got to get off his high horse here. Jazz is fine.
I'm just saying, bad boyfriend behavior. To be like, your interests aren't good enough.
Yep, you got to neg. You got to neg your partner. That's the success. And then go get Chinese food. Not even order delivery in. That's dumb. And then be like, I fucking hate the food she gets. I'll get some medicine. He's not a good boyfriend.
Save a little bit of money. That part I understand.
In Avengers, we're gonna see how a good man treats women.
Oh wow, okay.
No, we're not.
Yes,
we're
this
really
issue is going to be. I'm so sad we didn't read this during Women's History Month last month.
Oh boy.
Because this book is all about motherhood and how valuable motherhood is to America, according to at least the first caption of this book.
It's the first child born in Avengers Mansion. Apparently, that's what the first page says.
I was reading this and I was like, it's weird, but like, why does this thing have such a bad reputation? Then I finished it and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So let's.
I mean, let's just go in. But like the first caption here, I feel like has a premise that is not accurate to America in 1980, let alone now. For generations, the symbolic root values of the American people have been embodied in the phrase "mom, apple pie, and the girl next door." I've never heard that phrase.
No,
I've heard apple pie, but I've never heard, and I've talked about the girl next door, but I've never heard those like that's the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And then it says,
obviously, motherhood means a great deal to most Americans, which I love. Just obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Texas's maternal death rate is really, really good, right? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's very odd way to start a book here. But we find that the Avengers are pacing around outside of the medical lab. We have Dr. Blake, who's in there with Jocasta, the robot.
They don't know Dr. Blake is Thor, do they?
They don't know Dr. Blake is Thor. And honestly, when I was reading this book, I didn't know Dr. Blake was Thor because they didn't say Donald Blake, they say Dr. Blake the whole thing. I was like, who's Dr. Blake? Who's like delivering babies for the Avengers? I don't remember this guy, but okay, I guess he's just hanging out at the mansion like there's always some nobody hanging out. And then later they're like, oh, how did I not realize?
Yeah, I think Steve knows, but I don't think anyone else does. Maybe Iron Man knows, but I don't think any of the other, like any of the new people know. And by new, I mean like Scarlet Witch, who's been on the team for forever.
I feel like we complain about this every time we read any old Avengers comic from before they knew each other's secret identities, but it is so stupid. My God, it is stupid. But they do make a point of telling us that Carol Danvers revealed that she is Miss Marvel a few days ago or something like that to the Avengers. Yes. So that's very recent. But yeah, the Avengers are like pacing. Cap's like, isn't there anything we can do? And they're like,
these men have never been around a childbirth.
Never. They don't know. They have no idea. You could show Captain America a thing or two, Vince.
I know.
And Scarlet Witch and Vision come up and they're like, did we miss it? And they're like, no. And we get a little recap of what's happened, that Carol 3 days ago became pregnant and has gone through a full 9-month pregnancy in that time. And she's in labor now. And then Hank and Jan show up to figure out what's going on. The doctor is saying, keep pushing, Carol, keep pushing. Yeah, just like that. That's perfect. Perfect pushing. And she's like, but doctor, I'm not pushing at all. And he goes, what? That's impossible. That can't be. And then the next panel is him delivering the baby saying, it's a boy. So I don't know why that was such a big deal. That's okay.
She also mentioned she's not in any pain, which I'm like, I don't understand how that's happening.
Yeah, very weird. Very weird. But they deliver the baby. The scans look normal. But the doctor's worried. He's like, it still seems so unnatural. Wonder Man takes Carol up to her room, and Jan is kind of walking with them, trying to congratulate the lucky new parent. And Carol takes offense. She's like, I'm not lucky. I've been used. This is not my baby. I don't even know who the father is. Just leave me alone. I'm like, okay, this is a bit of a mystery here.
Yeah, 5 pages in, I'm like, how is this that bad? This is pretty interesting. All things,
yeah.
Like there's some weird
George Perez art.
Yeah, it's Micheline, Jim Shooter, Bob Layden. Like not all stars. A pretty decent team for 1980.
Yeah.
Like, How could this go? There's some weird premises of like, I'm like, I don't think motherhood is that important to Americans, and I don't know about this phrase, but other than that, like, sure, I'm feeling this is pretty good at this point.
Yeah,
I do like the somewhat completely forgotten triangle of Jocasta, Vision, and Scarlet Witch, because
yes,
Vision is like, hey, you seen that baby? Does that make you think about how we can't have kids? And she's like, no, it's fine. And then Jocasta, like, watching them be happy, and is like, this should be me. I should be married to the Vision.
Is she Ultron's wife, the bride?
She was created to be Ultron's wife. Yes.
Okay.
yes. Yeah, it is a good little love triangle. Wanda and Vision professing their love. Jocasta being sad. Jan walks up on her. Jan, she's just there to help the other women talk through their problems, I think, in this book. And she shows up and asks Jocasta what's wrong. She's like, oh, there's still so much about human emotion I don't understand. And Jan says, well, hey, don't worry. We don't understand it either. It's fine. Hawkeye and Beast. This scene has nothing to do with anything. Hawkeye and Beast are playing pool. Beast has lost 2 games in a row. He agrees to another round, though, and he starts calculating angles on his brand new top-of-the-line TI-59. Whoo, boy.
Wow. What is that, like $700 in 1980 money?
Must have been. I looked this up. It was the first programmable calculator from 1977. Now they make us all buy TI-83s. Do the kids still have to buy TI-83s?
I'm more questioning, are they like TI-120?
Finally.
You know, like if they went from 59 to 83 in 20 years for us, did they? I think they just stopped kind of like 84.
I think it's 87, or it was for a long time.
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't work for Texas Instruments, but yeah. Anyway, it doesn't make any sense. Just the angle is not enough. You also need the force, Hank.
Yeah.
Or
you need to know how to hold a cue. You need to know where to hit it. Yeah, all that stuff. But he goes for the break and he sinks all the balls in one go. Incredible. Good job, Beast. Then he checks in with the lab on video, and we learn that the child has grown to the size and maturity of a 2-year-old. What? And then he speaks his first word, change. Oh my God.
What does that mean?
We get an interlude from a dude. Why did they even bother naming this dude? His name is Raoul Kramer. What a name. He's heading to work and he sees a totally different time and place when he comes out of the subway. What's going on?
I mean, the Claremont, whenever Claremont would name a character, it's like, that guy is about to die. This guy doesn't die.
No, we don't see him again.
Maybe he died offhand. We don't see him.
Yeah, there were dinosaurs eventually. Spoiler alert, there's dinosaurs in this. Simon, Wonder Man, goes to check on Carol. She's kind of standing up. She's in her costume. She says the doctor's giving her a clean bill of health. She's good to be up and at him. And Simon's like, aren't you going to go check on your son? And she goes, I don't want anything to do with that thing. And Wonder Man's like, hey, you're scared. You don't know any more than the rest of us do, but you got to face up to it. Ignoring it's not going to help. Which, I don't know. Let her handle it the way she wants to handle it.
Right. It's like she actually doesn't, because she did not get pregnant in a normal way or have a normal child.
Yeah. Beast is trying to be a good uncle, though. He shows up with, this might be my panel of the week, him just showing up with hockey sticks, football, basketball. He's got a baseball mitt. But what really sells it is the backwards baseball cap, I think. And he shows up with all this stuff only to find that the kid has grown up a bit more. He's a bit of an intellectual. He says, I'd rather have a laser torch and as many electrical components as you can spare. Beast is like, gee, that's spooky.
Did you notice the kid has got a gap of a tooth? The kid has gotten teeth and presumably lost teeth.
Yeah, they started falling out.
Yeah. It's a nice
terrifying.
touch. No.
That's terrifying. That's the only word. Good job, Chris. I'm like, what the fuck is that? His bones have fallen out in 3 hours. That's terrifying to me. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I do. It reminds me of Dune 2. Smartly does not. Slight spoiler for Dune 2. Does not have a talking super baby. Because the David Lynch movie has it show up an hour and 20 minutes in, and you're just like, I'm sorry, I can't take this seriously. A talking super baby.
Okay. I guess that's a better spoiler, because like I say, a lot of movies don't have talking super babies.
Yeah,
Jurassic Park doesn't have a talking super baby.
Yeah, the book Dune does.
Okay.
Because Lady Jessica gets exposed to spice while pregnant, which she's not supposed to do, and it makes her child develop like super duper fast. So she's like talking with like her palate So she has like a lisp or whatever because she's like 2 years old. She's like, I'm going to kill the emperor. And you're like, okay, have fun.
Oh, I don't like that.
But yeah, that's in the David Lynch Dune, but not the new one.
Man, weird spooky kids are very creepy.
Yeah, like that movie Jack. That was fun when Robert Williams aged and he was 40.
Oh,
Actually, no, it was bad. I hate to tell you this, Vince.
Did y'all cover that for your show?
We did cover that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an expert on how bad it is.
And not just because Bill Cosby was his doctor in that movie, but for other reasons too.
Ooh.
So this weird kid says, actually, my development is not that puzzling. I'll explain once I have the materials I've requested.
That's not ominous at all.
Not at all.
I will tell you all a secret once you let me build a machine that I will not tell you what I am building.
Yeah. I would not let you do anything.
Okay, 6-year-old who was not born 12 hours ago.
Yep.
Pass. You're not getting these. You're not getting this. No, we're good.
He does say that his name is Marcus. Captain America asks a few questions that he gives avoidant answers to. Like, where'd you come from? My mom. How are you conceived? By my dad. I'm like, yeah, but who's your dad? I am. I'm like, okay. I don't know how that works. Then we get another interlude where some lady is checking the mailbox and she turns around and everything is dinosaurs and she faints.
Hell yeah. Still on board. This is awesome.
This is where I wrote, oh, Dr. Blake is Donald Blake. He's with Marcus, who is 12 now, and he's building, it looks like a gun, honestly, in his hands. It's like it's going to shoot a laser at somebody. We learn it's not, but it really looks like a gun at this stage. In the living room, Cap is telling Hawkeye they're not going to put Marcus in a cage, at least not yet. Then Jarvis comes in telling Iron Man that they've got 2 prank calls on the public line in the last few minutes. Somebody who says his deli was robbed by Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. What? All right. But there's been a bunch of time stuff. It could be true. Jocasta might be trying to flirt with the Vision a little bit here while he's looking at test results. She's like, oh, you're very resourceful. Maybe I can help. But Wanda comes in to interrupt. She's got some more results. Vision is so excited to share his theory with Wanda. They're excitedly chatting. Neither of them notices Jocasta leave quietly. And the narration says that she feels that's the harshest hurt of all. Aww. Miss Marvel comes out of her room. She apologizes to Wasp for snapping. She says she's fine physically, but she's been through a lot. And Jan's like, you know what? Let's go see your kid. So they go down and... Carol encounters her adult son, who says, hello, mother. And she's surprised, but Marcus says, don't be upset, Carol. Everything will be fine once the flux is negated. Nobody has any idea what's going on. They also still have not given this guy any clothes. He's in like a large adult diaper. Great way to meet your mom.
They also gave Carol like no context.
Yeah.
Like...
Give her a heads up.
Like I had a kid that was like a normal kid, and they're still like, okay, so he's looking good, like before, like he got taken away to get clean, to do her own tests on it. They do that shit, right? So I like just like Beast, I get it. They're like, oh, let's go see him. They give us an update before we go see him. He's gonna have some tubes in him. Okay, all right. He's gonna be like 35 years old. He's gonna have a beard. Just some heads up to Carol, so she knows what she's stepping into.
That might have been in between panels. We didn't see everything that Wasp may have been like, let me explain. He's actually aged into being an adult.
It really did seem like she had no idea, though. It did seem like nobody had told her.
Even if someone told you that, I feel like you'd still have the same reaction of like, well, they did warn me, but I did not believe it.
I also feel like if I'd given childbirth, like not 12 hours ago, I would not be wearing my skin tight costume.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Well, but he wasn't in there long enough to really like alter her body too much.
Supposedly, it was a very easy childbirth,
right?
Like an unnaturally easy childbirth. So I guess that's fair. Okay,
right. It's because this is not a normal child. Yeah. So he's built this giant tube-like structure. I don't know.
Why are we letting him do this?
I don't know, man. And then there's an
on the level. He hasn't told us why or his horrible story yet.
I mean, he has an evil goatee. He hasn't even been given the opportunity to like shave. How is he?
That's off panel.
Is it?
We've given this baby knives or some type of straight razor. Does his hair grow in at a different rate?
Yeah. Did they have to give him some wax to point up his eyebrows all evil like that?
I
don't know.
Does his hair doesn't grow at the same length that the rest of his body does, but it grows at some length.
Doesn't make any sense.
I guess that's the first hint that he's Immortus's son is the evil eyebrows.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! Wow!
Wow! Yes,
that's why he has evil facial hair. Is he's the son of an evil man?
Chris, how quickly did you clock this was a Kang descendant?
I am trying to think, because when would I have not known? Because I read Avengers, Kurt Busiek's Avengers, where Kang has a son and he's named Marcus. So I never lived in a world where I didn't know about Marcus. I read this issue later.
Okay.
So I don't know when. I don't think I would have guessed until he starts explaining it.
Okay.
All right. So we get a little explosion, rocks everybody, and Iron Man looks out the window. And this is another panel that we get a lot of good panels today here. But giant dinosaur attacking Avengers Mansion, and we have spaceships shooting lasers, and there's an old timey plane there as well. Oh my God.
Yeah, I read some of the creators' responses to the feedback from this issue. George Perez was like, "I had fun. I got to draw dinosaurs fighting like biplanes, kind of like what I did a few years later in Crisis on Infinite Earths." I'm like, good for you, George. Have fun.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just gonna draw dinosaurs. I do love I do love the caption also here. It's like our backyard's turned into a battlefield, and then the caption's like, and an awesome battlefield it is. Just in case you didn't get it from this awesome page, we're gonna hit you again and tell you it's awesome.
I do like the end of that panel also says it's like the logic. It will rival the logic of a lunatic's nightmare. I was like, okay, cool. But we get a nice big fight. Iron Man flies out the window and punches a T-Rex in the face. Yeah. Then we get.
It's a great comic. I don't know why this is considered a universally
Again, George Perez doing his job.
Yep. Wonder Man and Yellow Jackets stay back with Marcus. Wanda meets a knight who jousts at her, and she has to turn his lance into a snake. This is also when I wrote. It feels like every damn Avengers story we read has time travel elements with knights in it. I feel like I've seen a lot of that with the Avengers recently. Or every time we do a story for the show.
Well, we just had George Perez drawing medieval Avengers, but that's when she had much more curly hair. She had more Romani design.
Yeah.
We have Vision blasting some UFOs. A Native American tribe is what this seems to be. They're shooting fire arrows at the mansion. Hawkeye's like, I knew this kid was going to cause trouble. Captain America's like, hey, don't let your prejudice get in the way, or something like that.
But Beast,
Cap's like, we don't know it's him. I'm like, yeah, we do. Come on, Cap.
Beast says it's National Pocahontas Week. When he's poking.
It was very bad. Yeah, Poke-a-Hontus Week, as they're punching these people, and they all the onomatopoeia of bam, pow, and Beast is poke, because I guess a punch is like a poke. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. I will say, even if I didn't know it was Immortus, I would think it was Immortus or King, but around this time, because you're so much time stuff is happening now.
I don't even know. Hawkeye runs off to do something about that damn kid because it's all his fault. The mansion is crumbling. They're telling Marcus they have to get out. He says, but you don't understand. I have to finish this machine. Miss Marvel springs to action. She says, Dr. Blake, I'm going to put you in this reinforced storeroom for your safety. and Blake is thinking to himself, perfect. That's exactly what I needed. And he turns into Thor and does his thing.
Why doesn't he just leave as Dr. Blake?
Oh, man, I don't know. We had a few pages of pretty meaningless fighting. It does end with them trapping this T-Rex in a tornado, and that's pretty good. Jarvis punches an Inquisitor? Is that who this guy was?
I think it's Cardinal Richelieu.
Oh,
from the Three Musketeers.
He's at least the Three Musketeers character.
Okay.
He may have been what's his name? The bad guy from The Crow. Michael Wincott.
Were Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid real historical figures?
I was wondering that too. I didn't look it up.
I believe so.
Okay.
Because I was like, is he pulling things from fiction the way that Futurama Simpsons book we read? I was wondering if it was that or not. I had the same question though, Kia.
We
need to also like probably document how many times a butler has punched a villain, because I feel like Alfred did an Injustice recently, and I feel like there's got to be more times the butler did it.
It's always good. They should do it more. They should do a whole book of butlers punching villains. Why haven't they? Everyone loves it. Butlers punching dinosaurs. Has that ever happened?
Wow.
That would be a real winner.
Yeah.
Let's find that. Okay, so Jocasta saves Wanda from the knight, destroys the knight's sword. Jocasta's always like, I knew you could handle it, Wanda, but, I was here. Figured I'd help. Marcus is like, I have to activate this machine, and Carol doesn't want to leave. She feels compelled to stay. So Marcus uses a glowy hand move to put her to sleep, and he carries her out. But Hawkeye comes in right there to see Marcus carrying an unconscious Carol. He's like, oh, my God, I knew you were trouble. So he shoots an arrow, blasts the machine, and a tear comes down Marcus's eye. And he's like, oh, my God, I'm pissed now. I'm going to kill you, Hawkeye. All the Avengers come in. He's like, I'm going to kill you all. And Carol says, like, you're not going to kill anybody. I can, like, sense, like, goodness in you. And he's like, you don't know me. I am going to kill them. He's like, you're going to have to go through me. They're my friends. You'll have to kill me, too. I was like, fine. I wasn't going to kill anybody. I really just want to die, though. I want y'all to fight me because I don't want to go back.
Suicide by Avenger.
Yeah, right.
Ever since my father left, ever since the last days of Immortus. So this is where we get the reveal of the story here. He tells the story of Immortus, who was a powerful man who ruled Limbo, but he was lonely. So he saved a shipwreck survivor from the Titanic and, like, used his machines to like trick her into falling in love with him, like took him back to Limbo and created a little pocket of time stuff where time flowed naturally. And that's where Marcus was created, where he was born. But there was a limit of time that a human could spend in Limbo. And so his mom got sucked back to the real world. And then eventually Immortus disappeared too. And he couldn't escape to the real world because his presence would disrupt the time stream. So he decided instead he would be born into Earth, but he would need a strong woman for that. And he found Miss Marvel. He like plucked her out of time from her spaceship while she was flying, took her to Limbo.
She's done that before. We've seen her get plucked out of time in her plane.
Yep. He wooed her over weeks with the help of his charm and with his, I guess, mind-altering machines.
Well, he says first, he's like, I got, like, Shakespeare out of the timeline and all these other people. But then he's like, and also I use the machines. Which you're like, wait, what? What?
Yep. Made her fall in love, got her pregnant, then erased her memories of the whole thing, and sent her back to the exact same moment in time. Okay. Hawkeye says, why didn't you just tell us that? And he's like, well, why would you trust the son of your enemy? I feel like the answer is because I would also be admitting to a terrible crime.
Right. I would have a follow-up question like, why did you erase her memory? You used what kind of machines now?
Yes, it's a lot. There's a lot here. And then Carol speaks up, and she does not give the answer that I expected here. She says, I don't know what I felt for you in Limbo, but some of that feeling still lingers. Plus, it's kind of bizarre that you're my child, but I feel closer to you than I have to anyone else in a long while. So I'm going to come back to Limbo with you. And the other Avengers are like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. So they go. And she's gone.
I will say, so obviously this is a bad story.
Yes.
But you notice the Avengers that are there, when they're like, okay, see ya, it's Hawkeye, Iron Man, and Thor.
Yes.
So it's not Wanda, it's not Wasp, it's not even Cap.
We can't have Captain America witness this.
It's like the biggest assholes on the team.
Yeah, they're like, okay, fine, go for it. And they get whisked away. I guess Thor uses a hammer, magic stuff with wind to whisk them to where they need to go. I don't know. And all the timey stuff disappears. Hawkeye feels a little bad for destroying the machine, but then Iron Man's like, hey, we couldn't have known how it would have turned out that way. Maybe everything's fine. I don't know. I hope Miss Marvel lives happily ever after. And that's the end. It's real bad. It's really, really bad. I he really doesn't deserve to go down as like one of the worst comics of all time, because it is generally like, I don't know, told well, but just that ending in particular and like that specific part is so bad that it does drag the whole experience down. Like, oof, it was rough.
And this is an anniversary issue. This is like one that we're like, this is an important issue.
Yes.
like as opposed to just like
long issue.
Double size too. We didn't mention that. There's a lot of this.
It says that David Michelin had a different ending in mind, where the Supreme Intelligence was trying to make a human Kree hybrid.
Yes.
Okay.
But there was a what if issue that came out the same year that because what if Rick Jones hadn't been part of the Kree Skrull War, and the Supreme Intelligence gets his brain put into the body of a human to create a human Kree hybrid, and they're like, this is too close. Because I don't know if that's exactly if it was going to be the Supreme Intelligence. But they were like, yeah, this is a little bit too much like this what if we just published.
They also, according to the credits at the beginning, there were 4 people on the plot of this. It was Jim Shooter, George Perez, Professor Layton, and David Michelin. I don't know who Layton is. I assumed
Bob
Professor
Layton.
Layton. Thank you.
Yeah, the Iron Man writer that did Demon in a Bottle
with Michelin, right? With Michelin.
But but it's a good sign that you have instead of one writer, you have 4 writers. That they weren't just scrambling to be like, we need something. We need to get Carol off the team. We need to resolve this pregnancy plotline that we don't have a solution for.
Yep.
And we also, I mean, I don't know what else they're like. Directives were, I guess, something with dinosaurs.
Something with that. That's the George Perez contribution.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have nothing else I have to say about this. Do y'all have anything you want to say? Are you gonna keep reading?
No.
This book, I will say, the collection that I found to read this in, it was in Marvel Masterworks, Miss Marvel, Volume 2. They decided to reprint this in a best of compilation for Miss Marvel.
Wow.
Okay. Well.
That's crazy. Unless, I mean, you would have to have something at the start of it explaining like why you're including that. I feel like
it's an important story, but it's also like, I mean, maybe don't have her have a kid with her assaulter and then run off with him. Like, it seems a bit much.
Yeah, and even she even says like that she's still under the influence of the feeling she had for him in Limbo.
Yeah,
like that's text. Like that is, I've been playing a ton of Baldur's Gate 3, so like maybe it's just in my brain, but like that is Hawkeye and Thor and Iron Man all failing like, hey, notice anything strange about what's going on right now? And they're like, nope, seems fine.
Yep.
See if you detect any magic. Like, nope.
I want to see the scene afterwards where like Cap and Jan come back and they're like, wait. What happened?
Well, she said she wanted to. Why'd she say she wanted to? Well, she said she was still under his influence.
Literally, it's not even reading in too much after the fact. That's the text of the story. Is he admits that he mind controlled her into loving him, and then she's like, "I'm still being mind controlled."
Yeah. All right.
I will say, so we haven't covered it. I guess we will have to at some point. X-Men 97 has made us all fall in love with Rogue again. But the good result from this is that there was a fan magazine I'm looking at the cover of this fan magazine right now. Kurt Busiek, one of the people whose names are on this thing. So he, I guess, I think he was even working by this point. He started doing Heroes for Hire around this time. But anyway, they had this fan magazine and they wrote a big article called and I'm sorry, we probably should have said content warning on what happens. But they wrote an article called The Rape of Ms. Marvel, and they explained like what happens in the book. Through the context of like, this is what you are admitting happened here. This is, sexual violence that's happening to this character. And you play it out like maybe she'll find happiness. So then when Chris Claremont writes Avengers Annual number 10, Ms. Marvel directly confronts the Avengers. And Hawkeye is so shitty in it. And she slaps Thor in the face and is like, I hated all of you because you let this happen to me. And that's why when I got out, I didn't tell you and I didn't reach out to the Avengers because I was very mad at all of you. Like, yeah, you should be.
That's good.
That is good. So I will say this collection has that as the follow-up issue.
Okay.
So I guess that it makes sense for the inclusion of both at the same time.
Sure.
Yeah. But anyways, I've got nothing else to say about it. I think we need to move on. Yeah. Anything else?
No. Every person that I was sorry, describing this episode to some friends, and they're like, "That's fucked up. That sounds fucked up, Vince." And I go, "Yep."
Yep. All right. So on to Earth X, number X. We're finally on the last issue of this series that we have been reading. We had an issue 0. We had 12 issues. So this is now our 14th issue. X equals 14. We have, I guess X equals 13 because of the 0. Never mind. Do we need to recap it? I don't feel like it. Let's go into it.
Let's just get through it.
We're not starting with any conversation text this time. Hey, so no history then? Great. All right.
No history lesson. All right.
X-51 is reminiscing about kind of what Uatu told him versus what his father told him. And he's kind of narrating this whole thing throughout it's like a recording from X-51, and he's a message in a bottle for when the celestial plan for universal domination comes through and there's no Earth. He wants to explain why. We have Thing and Peter confirming with Cap that the skull is dead, which happened 2 issues ago, but we're just now picking up on it. Daredevil is saying, "Oh, why couldn't it have been me?" Oh, that Daredevil, still the best character. X-51 continues to recap stuff, what we know about the Celestials, how they impregnated the planet, empowered heroes, assigned the Watcher to watch the planet. Uatu got blinded and got X-51 to be like a subcontractor watcher, something like that. Galactus is the only creature in history to keep the Celestials at bay. But Reed Richards turned him into a star years ago. So who's this Galactus who just showed up? All right, but then back to the present. Werewolf John Jameson has turned into an astronaut. His wife is holding the baby. X-51 is holding the ultimate nullifier. Reed Richards is trying to plead with John, saying, "Oh, remember who you are." We get some more of this recording.
He said he's turned into an astronaut. He's turned into a wolf.
Sorry, he's turned into a werewolf. He is an astronaut. I'm sorry. Thank you.
It's confusing because
soon I become an astronaut.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody does turn into animals already in this book, so that makes sense.
It reminds me of the Upright Citizens Brigade, how they had a running gag of astronauts being like prejudiced against. Like, don't be an astronaut. Remember who you are. We get more recording stuff from X-51 about how Uatu even helped Reed defeat Galactus years
cool.
ago. It is great.
This is a retcon, right? This is not.
Yes.
Okay.
This is I think a very good huge retcon of like actually the Watcher was bad, helping fight Galactus was bad.
Yeah, the overall idea of this story is like pretty solid, even if we have issues with the execution.
The Earth execution.
Oh my God! So in the back on Earth, a Celestial lands in the water. He's confronted by Namor and his forces. We go back to the moon. John Jameson is biting Reed Richards' arm like a bone. Reed is saying "Thank you, Victor," presumably in reference to the Doom armor that he's wearing.
Oh, okay.
It was a little bit unclear. Like,
I saw "Thank you, Victor." Like, who's calling who Victor? Does he think?
Yeah, I feel like in that moment of a werewolf biting at your arm, that's not the right thing to say, Reed. I mean, like, you got bigger things.
It should be good thing I have this Doom costume on.
Yeah.
And then you could be like, oh, right, because it's not Dr. Doom. That would help, right?
Something like that. X-51 says, I know how to save him. He stands forward and sets himself as bait and opens a portal back to Earth, but to a place where it's sunny. And his wife is like, but you said Earth was going to be destroyed. And he's like, well, yeah, but he would have killed us, and then we couldn't help Earth. So I sent him to Earth. And they're like, you don't care. You're all the same. All right. X-51 looks towards Earth. He sees Silver Surfers, both of them, and Galactus are there. Silver Surfer gets like blown out of the sky, and he calls for Shala Bal. And Reed explained that this is Norin Rad's reason for living. That was his girlfriend's name. He became Galactus's herald so that he could save his girlfriend from being eaten. And then Reed thinks about who this new Galactus is and if he remembers anything, and like if he's still been mutating and changing, you know. what's going on there? And then I was like, watch it.
Can I take a step back here? I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
when they talk about this retcon. The one thing I like about the Eternals movie, I always harp on, is that the idea that the celestial seed is going to destroy Earth, and like humans and all the superheroes are like this antibody to protect against outside forces trying to hurt the celestial seed that's going to destroy Earth. It's protecting the egg. It's protecting the body, and Galactus is against that. And I really like that retcon. I really also like this retcon that the Heralds of Galactus exist to try to get people off the planet before Galactus eats the planet. That's a really cool retcon to me too.
Is that a retcon? I feel like I've seen that.
Is it?
Before? No? Am I wrong?
I always wonder, like, why does he send the Silver Surfer or anybody to the planet to say, "Yo, y'all are about to be eaten"?
Yeah.
But maybe
I guess so. Makes sense.
I think it's a retcon. I don't remember it being like, oh, this is to save lives.
Okay. So the Watcher has been talking about humanity and how they're going to keep evolving until they all have the same like Skrull powers, that they're like, shapeshifty and all that stuff. And he said, but then there's another step afterwards, like a failsafe. And he's like, X-51, can you think of anyone? And X-51's like, it's got to be the Asgardians. Like maybe Galactus has reached that same level as the Norse gods of myth, where it's like, if you believe in Galactus enough, then Galactus will have to exist. So he's going to be Galactus as long as nobody tells him he's not. Okay. Meanwhile, Loki is kind of doing the same thing he's been doing with the Asgardians. He's in the realm of the dead now. He is talking to someone. Who's this guy? Is that the guy with the guns who was played by that one guy in the movie? Who's that guy? You know that guy?
Oh, not Keith Urban, Carl Urban.
Carl Urban, yeah. Is this the Carl Urban?
Behold my stuff. Is that Balder? Yeah. Is that his name? No.
Balder. No, I don't think.
No. Balder is Idris Elba. Or no, that's
That's
Heimdall. He is like the Executioner, I think, in the comics.
Maybe. I don't know who this guy is. They didn't name him, but I assume it's Carl Urban. And Loki is trying to convince Carl Urban that they're not really dead, or if they just believe they're alive, they can be alive. And nobody else is really buying it. They're hard to convince. Oh, Scourge, thank you. They're hard to convince because they're just dead and they want to keep fighting, I guess. I don't know. Namor saves the Silver Surfer who kind of got plunged into the water. He's like, hey, I know what it feels like to lose someone. Reed says he now has to go to Latveria to help Medusa find her son so that she can at least say goodbye. Says, hey, X-51. No, he doesn't call him X-51. He calls him Aaron. Says, Aaron, do you know where he is? So I guess they can seek him, find him. Reed shows up to the Inhumans. Medusa's like, my husband's dead, isn't he? And Reed's like, well, I can take you to see your son. He's in King Britain's care. So Medusa comes in, kind of guns a-blazing, wraps, hair a-blazing, I guess. She wraps King Britain in her hair and says, where is he? And it was this knight that was by his side that we were seeing. I raised him to be a king. Never thought the royal family would return. Medusa says, oh, yeah, Black Bolt left him to be the heir that the world would need because he's so damn perfect. Loki is back in the land of the living now. He's talking to something in his head. He's basically like trying to convince himself that he doesn't have to be what they believe he is. Galactus is destroying Celestials with his laser eyes. X-51 tells Uatu he's losing. I wish you had the eyes to see it for yourself. That's one of the things I've enjoyed throughout this whole book is just X-51 being pissed at Uatu. Like X-51 doesn't care, and he's happy to rub Uatu's face in it every chance he gets. But Uatu says it's a hollow victory. You haven't saved the Earth. You've only changed executioners. Okay. Then Reed goes up to the Statue of Liberty's torch to call to Galactus. He says, hey, I know the name I called you by confused you, but take off your mask so I can see your face. It'll be easier to communicate. And we find out that it is Franklin Richards, Reed Richards' son. And Uatu is seeing this, and he's like, I don't get this plan. If he's convincing him that he's not Galactus, then he'll just stop being Galactus, and the Celestial Seed will be born, so it's lose-lose for you. And Reed appeals to Galactus. He says, hey, I know you're here to eat the Earth, but like I saved you all those years ago. You wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for me, so please spare Earth. Reed doesn't let on that he's his son. He knows that he's his son. He knows he can't. He says to Galactus, I've heard you're much more compassionate than you were in the past, and that you transport populations to safe worlds. which is like Reed's way of playing into this thing of like you become what people believe. So he's just trying to spread this new truth about Galactus, which is pretty clever. I like that idea that he's trying to create like a new, more compassionate Galactus. Galactus asks, that voice that called me Franklin. He was like, oh yeah, that was just to get your attention. I love my son and I'd do anything for him. So it's like the most passionate name I could call out.
Yeah, wherever he is. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah. And Galactus says, okay, well, I don't know where to transport the Earthlings to, so I'm not gonna destroy this planet, but I can't leave it as is. So he blasts off, and it kind of looks like he maybe like burns the ground or something. I don't know if he like was trying to destroy the seed on his way up. I don't know, but he leaves. He's gone. And then X-51 kind of tells Uatu about the Watchers, and he's like, a whole race enslaved to be Watchers for the Celestials, waiting for like this planet you're watching to die so you can be free. Like something so significant born out of like an insignificant action from one Watcher. And he was like, you're the devil, Uatu. Like you could have done so much to help, but you just like sat there like just waiting to be free. And X-51 peels back the curtain, Wizard of Oz style, the whole time. We didn't really mention, but Uatu has been on like this big TV screen the whole time. Nobody's really questioned it, but he's been sitting in the back behind a curtain, hooked up to tubes and stuff, looking all sick. And X-51 starts ripping them out.
That's a cool reveal. It's a really cool reveal.
And Uatu, I guess, was like connected to microphones on the Earth. How does that work? But he like can't hear the Earth anymore. He's like, you can't do this, X-51. It's inhuman. And he like calls out to him, but X-51 is gone. So we are now into the world after Celestials and Galactus. Reed Richards is building towers everywhere to burn the Terrigen mists out of the air. All the world leaders have agreed to build towers in their country as well, except Black Panther. He's telling Beast he won't hear another word of it. The spirits of the Beast have finally been given a voice. And the spirits are like, yeah, but we're kind of worried about you. It's going to put all your friends against you if you don't agree with them. And Black Panther says, it doesn't matter. I serve you, not my own interests. Doesn't matter if they're against me. Okay. Luke is talking to Peter saying, hey, glad to have you back in action. But he's like, no, it's not permanent. May would have to give me a whole bunch of crime fighting tips if I wanted to get back out there. The new X-Men team is training. Daredevil is confused as to why. Because the Skull is dead. Let's go make some money. But the X-Men really want to try and make a difference. This scene makes the whole book worthwhile, possibly. A donkey comes up to Reed and thanks him for what he's done for his son. He goes, oh yeah, no problem. But wait, who are you? And werewolf astronaut John Jameson comes up, and it's his dad, J. Jonah Jameson, who has turned into a jackass. Hilarious. And Reed has invented a solar energy suit to keep him from becoming Man-Wolf anymore. Hooray. This is all on a building site where everyone's wearing hard hats, and he's not even featured. He's just in the background there, but Spider's Man is there wearing a hard hat. And I thought it was so adorable, and I was so mad we didn't get anything with Spider's Man in this issue or in the last issue. We got no epilogue for Spider's Man. What the hell? Best character.
I mean, I assume Universe X will be about Spider's Man.
It better be. Reed is giving some instructions about what to do next for everybody, and kind of trails off. And Mar-Vell shows up, Captain Marvel, the original. And he's like, you're a hard man to reach, Reed. Why don't you ever sleep? And Reed realizes he's drifted off to sleep, and this is a dream. So that's how Mar-Vell's able to communicate with him. And Mar-Vell reveals that he is the one who got Thor off of Earth by going through Banner, and that freed Loki up to do his thing, which would lead to Reed discovering everything, which I was very confused by. How did any of that lead to any of that? And why did this it seemed like all that stuff just kind of happened and it was okay. I didn't need a big reason like, oh, so that's why this was you know what I mean? It's just like, what are you talking about, Mar-Vell? That's how I read it.
I understand that, but I do think it's cool to like, this is a good seed, no pun intended, no celestial seed, for what's coming, where he's just like, By the way, I'm about to come back to life. Tell everybody. I mean, don't tell everybody.
I did like that part of it where he's like, I'm going to come back to save everyone, and they're not going to like it. You'll see. You'll see. Like, okay, fine. By the way, start thinking of where you're going to keep me when I come back, because you're going to want to hide me for a little bit. Like, all right. But Steve's like, but how will you come back? Then we see a pregnant woman, which is, I guess today's the day of people coming back as babies. I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me this time. Iron Maiden, snaps him awake, and he calls out and he's like, wait, come back. What about Sue? Have you seen her? And we just get a little bubble. It says, she misses you, Reed. Oh, how sweet. Let's see. The Western guy's apologizing to Cap, saying he was always trying to help and that Cap did the right thing. X-51 is going to be go back to watching so that he can watch all these burners and make sure that they're keeping the Earth safe. He doesn't want to call himself a watcher, though. He calls himself a watchman. Much better.
Well, who's watching him?
I was going to say, getting close to trademark infringement. There's a certain other book called that.
Yeah. They have watchtowers as well. I don't know. Luna, meanwhile, blossoms from her inhuman cocoon. She is a beautiful butterfly, so now she can finally get married to the prince. And the prince doesn't say anything. And Luna goes to Medusa. I was like, what does that mean? What's going on? And Medusa's like, I don't know. And then Captain America gives a rousing speech about the need to keep helping each other. Even though we're all like different now, we're still humans. It's your highest calling to be a human. Let them see, if anyone comes to attack us, let them see the fires of our humanity burn, our human torch. The end. Okay. You know, it ended. It was, I don't know. Y'all go first. Vince, you go first.
I like the idea of the book.
Yeah.
I think it is executed very, very poorly. I think like I like the celestial stuff. I like the come together. I like that. I kind of wonder, like, just broad strokes of like, what the fuck was the stuff with the Land of the Dead? Why did we need the skull here? And then like there's like broad things of like just like wasted plot points. And then there's just, and like, why do we have Wolverine and Jean for an issue? Spider-Man did nothing here. Like, why do we have these characters here? They don't like, and then the biggest problem for me is just like, there's no characterization. Like the characters I feel like they don't have many moments, and the cool moments that do exist are very like subtle. But I don't know, like there's a minimalism to the book, but like the characters, like I don't know what Reed wants versus what Tony wants versus what anybody wants, and there's this weird like narration, like why is John Jameson here? Could it have been insert any character? And like there's not really like much of a change in the plot or the way the things go out. It's just like the characterization I just felt was bad, and I feel like the execution was bad. And I like John Paul Leon, but not necessarily for this book. He's got some cool images, and a lot of them just like I'm like, this is a hard to read book. Yeah. It's very just like there's a celestial seed of a good story here waiting to hatch. Wow. But dude, like I would not read Universe X.
Yeah, not at all. You helped me come to my final thoughts a little bit, which is, and I don't want to be too prescriptive, but I just didn't care about any of like the mystery elements. It's a book that got so much better when I knew what was going on, you know, when it was just clear about like, hey, these are the stakes. And I feel like it would have gotten just so many more legs out of this thing if it had just started issue 0 with that. Black Bolt released the mists, no mystery. Yeah. That's what's going on. Now we can actually just like live in the world and explore the characters, which I just really didn't do. Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. You know, it is funny because some of the stuff. I mean, Vince mentioned Eternals. When Marvel kind of made mutants forbidden. They had Black Bolt basically do what he does in this and create new Inhumans, and Kamala Khan becomes one of them. So it's like a lot of this is like canon now. I think the idea of the Asgardians being ancient aliens previously existed, but that's been expanded upon too. They have a series, the Dan Jurgens Thor series ends where they have a Ragnarok and then they meet like the people who gave them their powers and are like, yeah, you have to keep doing this. Like this is, you're not really gods in the sense of that you're have the power to create and destroy things. It's just that we need somebody to do this. So it's like there's a lot of cool ideas that get incorporated into the wider universe. But I agree, like there's just too many ideas. There's a lot of like, Alex Ross does a character design of, oh, what if, Peter Parker's daughter was Carnage. That's something, but it's like she doesn't do anything in the story. I love May Parker. I think she's great. But like the Peter Parker May stuff should have probably been like a completely separate New York based, 3-issue series that's not part of the main story. Too much of it is, and that's a problem with Universe X too, is too much of it is just page after page after page of like, you guys know the story. The Hulk was, bitten by a radioactive spider. Like, wait, that's not what happened. Yeah. But then they're like, but what if I told you that that's actually not exactly what happened? And you're like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Like it's just, it happens so much and you're like, okay, like I get it. It is not a exciting story on its own, and I understand it's just like the way that they chose to tell it, especially like, again, we're being more and more prescriptive, but it's like Reed Richards is the last person that should be solving this. Like it should be, and I know we're all middle-aged guys. We joked about how Spider-Ham was weird for us because we're all too old for it, but it's just like the idea that it is a young person that is evil and that old man Reed Richards is like the savior of humanity. I'm like, that is exactly backwards. Like that is not, Reed Richards should not be the protagonist of this story. I think it's crazy that he is.
Yeah. I generally don't like when characters cause the problem, they're also the ones that get to solve it. That conflict could be interesting. Like, dude, you fucked this up already. Like, step aside. Like, let somebody else fix your problem.
Yeah.
You're just going to make it worse.
I think there's a way you could do it with like the children of these, characters kind of discovering what their parents did and like actually fixing it kind of way, instead of like Reed and everyone else being like, oh, actually, I can do it. I'll just use my son who is also a god, right. And he'll be my get out of jail free card on this.
It's just like there's ideas, and I feel like the plotting and the characters just don't make sense for this book. I do think like they're like Chris, you were saying like there's cool ideas here, like they're starting to cast for the Fantastic Four movie. And I know that like the Eternals left like a celestial body just like out in the fucking ocean, and the big complaint like online is like they're never gonna readdress this thing out in the ocean. Like no, because shit happens in the world, nobody reacts to it. But like if Galactus comes to like deal with the Celestial from the Eternals movie, I feel like that adds an added complication that would be fun to a movie. Mm-hmm. Like you could do some like good like third act twists when if you find out the Galactus may not be just like a kaiju. Like I think that there's some nuances there that you could use, that you could definitely extrapolate from the story and take some things from this book and put in a movie and make it good.
Right. Yeah. And again, centering someone who is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say I've never ever read a book where I care about the Celestials or the Eternals or any of that garbage. But this book, like, actually made it kind of interesting, and it's like the only time that I've been like, "Hey, I'm buying into the story about all that," and like their big galactic fight against each other is interesting.
That's how I felt with the Eternals movie. Like, it took an hour to reveal that concept with the Celestial thing, and just like Chris said here, like, start there. Don't dick around for this amount of time. Start there. It'll be much better.
But we're through with it. We're very likely never going to read Universe X or Paradise X. They did 3 of these.
And spin-offs of Universe X and Paradise X. There's a book called Heralds and a few other things. I read almost all of them. I remember very little. I do remember getting very mad at the retcon that I don't believe anything else has ever picked up again, which is that minor X-Men villain Belasco is actually a time traveling / dimensional traveling Nightcrawler. I was like, what? Because they have tails. That's they look like devils. That's the only thing they have in common.
Wow.
Okay, that's where you got mad. Okay,
that was the line. I was just
Belasco?
like, literally nothing about Night, because Belasco is like he acts like a devil from like Dante's Inferno. He's always trying to trick the X-Men, and I'm like, nothing about him would make you think, oh, that's actually Nightcrawler.
Yeah, not at all.
There's a Nightcrawler comic right now where he was bitten by a radioactive spider, and he's a Spider-Man Nightcrawler.
What?
Yeah,
that sounds great.
There's like 5 or 6 issues. I've seen it on Marvel Unlimited. I'm like, this is intriguing to me.
Yeah, I want to see that. I'm gonna read that. No problem.
Yeah, and again, have Nightcrawler have like, I don't know, have a child with somebody, and then they solve a mystery, whatever. Oh, we didn't mention, this is the only time I'll ever have to mention this book, because I don't think we're ever going to read it or talk about it ever. The Skull, I assume y'all didn't know who the Skull was. I don't even think they really explained who the character was. Maybe it was in the text.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I just thought he looked like Prez. That's as far as I got, and that's DC.
Yeah, he does look like Prez, but he is the son of a incredibly minor 80s hero based on his name called Comet Man. And Comet Man was a Marvel character created because Halley's Comet passed near Earth in the 80s. And so, I mean, that's literally the reason they made this. And so
Comet Fever was at a peak.
Yeah. Bill Mumy, I think that's how you say it. The child actor who was in the Twilight Zone about it's a good life or whatever, where he has the incredible powers.
Okay.
He and Miguel Ferrer from RoboCop, Blank Check, Iron Man 3. The
Blank Check villain?
Yes. They came to Marvel and were like, we have an idea. And so they are the co-creators of Comet Man with Kelly Jones, who did the crazy Batman where everything is out of proportion. So they made Comet Man. So I wonder if the Skull having the powers is a reference to Bill Mumy playing that character in the Twilight Zone.
What the fuck?
Interesting.
So I was like, that's kind of a crazy connection that they don't really bring up, but I'm like, that's, because that's the thing, is he can kind of make anyone do whatever he wants in that Twilight Zone. So anyway,
great,
fun, weird thing. And I also had no idea that Miguel Ferrer and Bill Mumy made a comic for Marvel.
Weird. What? None of that. Like, okay.
It happened. And he had a son who apparently was the Skull.
Cool. Well, I think it's okay. Anything else to say about Earth X? I feel like we spent a lot of time on this thing, but it's done. Goodbye, Earth X. Next time, we're starting our long read. Next time, it's our new one. We're going on to the Thunderbolts. We were recently reading some Kurt Busiek Avengers from the late '90s, and Thunderbolts was taking place around the same time here. It is the story of a brand new superhero team that was created to fill the hole when the Avengers all disappeared from Onslaught. Kurt Busiek on writing and Mark Bagley on art. I've read this thing in the past. I really like it. I've been wanting to read this for a while, so I'm excited about this long read. And I mean, I guess spoiler alert, they're actually villains, but we don't know that. And then our main read for next time is going to be I Hate Fairyland. We read this a while back, about four years ago or so. And we are finally going to read the second volume. I thought we already had. I didn't realize we hadn't. It's I Hate Fairyland Volume 2, Scotty Young. We were just in the mood for, after this April Fool's episode, we wanted something actually funny. And I Hate Fairyland was very funny the first time around, so we're going to go back to it. So yeah, I Hate Fairyland Volume 2, and then Thunderbolts #1. We're just starting with the first issue next time. And that's it. What else is going on? Chris, how is the Your Stupid Minds podcast doing?
Your Stupid Minds is doing great. We just released last week a Steve Austin episode in time for WrestleMania called Hunt to Kill, aggressively filmed in Canada, I believe, other than Steve Austin and one English actor. Every other character in it has played someone on Smallville, and that's just to give you a taste of how Canadian it is.
Beautiful, beautiful. Vince, what's going on with you?
Nothing's going on with me. Just hanging in, hanging out, getting ready for nothing really. All right, just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Hooray.
What are you up to?
Got a new puzzle.
All right. Is it a good puzzle? Is it like that polar bear 1,000-piece puzzle you did?
The polar bear in the
snow?
snow?
Yeah, it was all white pieces.
This one's just a bunch of different beer cans.
Okay.
I couldn't help but think of that Patton Oswalt joke. If you know it, you know it. All right. What else do I got to plug? Oh, I beat every character in Brotato. I'm done with the game.
Hot dog. Good job.
A good game. Did you ever try that game out?
I bought it. I have not played it though. It's like a Vampire Survivors like though, right?
Yeah. I think with a focus on character building.
Oh, I do like characters. We've learned from Earth X.
Yes.
and my review of Spider-Ham. Yeah.
Yeah. If you like Earth X, you're gonna love Brotato.
If you don't like Earth X and you felt it was missing characterization, you'll like Brotato.
Then you're really gonna love Brotato. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Vince, I love you.
Love you too, bud.
Chris, I love you.
I love you through the subtle machinations of my machines.
God, no. You know what? I feel like I need to take a trip back to Texas soon. I haven't seen Chris in a long time. Chris, I'm gonna come see you real soon.
And then like wipe his memory of it. What the fuck is this going happening?
No, I'm compelled to come to him. Is the idea?
Oh, okay. He's the guy with the goatee.
I'm the one with the machines.
Okay. Yes. And listener, we love you. I hope we compel you to listen to the next episode. Yeah. Bye.